Builders in Herriman are handing out incentives right now. Rate buydowns, free upgrades, closing costs to help. It looks amazing on the sign out front, but there are 5 things they are not going to volunteer, and one of them can cost you tens of thousands of dollars. I'm Kelsey Earl with Keller Williams South Valley, right here in Herriman. Most of this city is newer construction, so these traps are everywhere here. Let me walk you through them before you sign anything. Subscribe if you're house hunting in Utah. Let's get into it. I've lived here in Herriman for 16 years. Whether you're already local or just thinking about moving here, I'd love to help, and I actually have time for you. Number 1, the price on the sign is the stripped down base model. By the time you add the lot premium, the design center upgrades, and the landscaping, the city requires you can be 15 to 25% over base. I've watched buyers fall in love with a home from the 500s, sign, and end up well into the 600s once it's all in. Always ask for a fully loaded out the door estimate before you get attached, not the base, the real numbers. Let me show you where the money actually goes. The lot premium is first. A walkout basement, a corner lot, or backing open space can add $10,000 to $30,000 before you've picked a single finish. Then comes the design center, and this is where it gets dangerous because everything feels small in the moment. Upgraded flooring, the better cabinets, quartz instead of laminate, extra can lights. Each one is only a few thousand, but they stack fast, and the design consultant's job is to help them stack. My rule for clients: walk in with a hard upgrade budget written down before you ever sit at that table. And treat structural choices differently from cosmetic ones. Structural things you can't redo later, the extra window, the gas line, the rough-in for a future bathroom. Cosmetic things like paint or light fixtures, you can change yourself for a fraction of the builder's price. Spend on what you can't change. Skip what you can. Number 2, that juicy rate buy down almost always requires you to use the builder's in-house lender. Sometimes that's a genuinely great deal, and sometimes the rate or the fees are quietly worse than what you'd get on the open market. Here's the move. Take their offer, then get a competing quote from an outside lender. You're allowed to. They won't remind you to. That one phone call can save you thousands over the life of the loan. And here's what to actually compare, because the headline is only half the story. Ask both lenders for a written loan estimate and look at the lender fees, the origination charge, and the points, not just the interest rate. I've seen a builder advertise a stunning rate, then bury an extra point or two of cost in the fees to pay for it. The rate looks amazing and the total cost is the same or worse. One thing most people miss is a lot of these incentives are tied to you closing with that lender, but you can often still negotiate. If your outside lender beats them, take that estimate back to the builder. Sometimes they'll match it or sweeten the deal to keep your loan in-house. You have more leverage than you think, but only if you've done the homework to use it. Number 3, and this is one that costs people the most. The friendly person at the model home works for the builder, not for you. They are lovely and they are not on your side of the table. In most cases, the builder pays the buyer's agent. So having your own representation usually costs you nothing. But you typically have to bring that agent on your very first visit. Walk in alone, register yourself, and you can lose that protection entirely. So before you ever tour a model, line up your agent first. Let me make this concrete because representation can sound abstract. Your own agent reads the builder's contract before you sign, and the builder contracts are written by the builder's attorneys to protect the builder, not you. They'll catch the clauses on what happens if the build is delayed, what the earnest money rules are, and what you're actually owed if the appraisal comes in low. The model home rep is not going to volunteer any of that. Your agent also knows things about that specific community you can't see on the tour, which builders here have a reputation for quality versus cutting corners. What other buyers paid for the same floor plan and whether the incentives being offered are actually generous or just dressed up to look that way. That's local knowledge, and it's the whole reason it's worth bringing someone who's not on the builder's payroll. And again, in almost every case, it costs you nothing because the builder has already budgeted to pay a buyer's agent, whether you bring one or not. Number 4, that quiet street may not stay quiet. Density here is being concentrated along the major corridors, and the Mountain View corridor is being upgraded toward a full freeway with construction around 2027. Before you buy, pull the master plan and the future land use map for that community. Know what's being built behind you, beside you, and across the street from you. Because the field that is empty today is going to be someone's townhome project tomorrow. Here's exactly how to check, and it's free. Go to the Herriman City website and look up zoning map and the general plan for the parcel next to the one you're considering. If that empty lot is zoned for higher density or mixed use, assume it will eventually be built to that density. Not the best case version the sales rep describes. I've had clients who were told, oh, that'll probably be a park, and 2 years later, it's a 3-story apartment building. And think about the timeline of living in an active build out, because it's a real quality of life factor. For the first couple of years, you may have construction trucks, dust, and crews starting early on the lots around you. None of that is a deal breaker. It's just part of buying early in a community. But you want to go in with your eyes open and maybe pick the lot directly facing the next 3 phases of construction. If peace and quiet are day one matters to you, buying in a community that's already 90% finished might be the smarter play than the brand new section. Number 5, build timelines move, closing dates get pushed, and if you've already sold your old place or given notice on a rental, that gap is your problem, not the builder's. Build in a buffer and do not burn your bridges too early. And the warranty has real limits. Do a thorough final walkthrough, get the punch list in writing, and do not sign off on anything that isn't actually finished. Once you close, your leverage drops fast. On the timeline specifically, never line up your move out to the exact date the builder gives you. I tell clients to assume the closing date will slip a few weeks and plan their lease or their sell around that cushion, not around the builder's optimistic estimate. Weather, inspections, and supply delays all push dates, and the contractor usually protects the builder's right to do that. A little buffer turns a stressful scramble into a non-event. On the walkthrough, bring a roll of painter's tape and your agent and go slowly. Tape every flaw, the scuffed trim, the cabinet that doesn't close right, the paint touch-ups, and get that list signed by the builder before closing with a date for fixes, and ask specifically what the warranty covers and for how long. Most builders offer a 1-year fit and finish warranty, a 2-year systems warranty, and longer structural coverage, but the details vary. and the time to understand them is before you sign, not when something cracks in month 13. Quick bonus, because it matters here, resell. When you go to sell, you'll be competing against the brand new homes 3 streets over with the latest finishes. That new construction comparison effect is real in Herriman. So 2 rules. Don't over personalize. Wild finishes age fast, and buy the lot, not just the floor plan. A view, a cul-de-sac, backing open space, you can't change those later, but you can always update finishes. So let's lock it in. 5 things builders won't tell you. 1, the base price is not the real price. Get the out the door number. 2, the lender incentive has a catch. Always get one outside quote. 3, bring your own agent on visit number 1. It's usually free and it protects you. 4, the community isn't finished. Pull the master plan. And 5, the timeline and warranty will slip. Get everything in writing. Do 5 things and you're already ahead of most every buyer walking in to the model home.